Right, picture this. It's Tuesday morning. Somewhere in a race shop in North Carolina, an engineer opens his laptop and sitting there in a folder he probably shouldn't talk about too loudly is a file, a telemetry file. It's not his driver's data. It's not his team's data. It's Shane van Gisbergen's. Every brake point, every throttle input, every millisecond of what makes the bloke damn near unbeatable on a road course, downloaded, overlaid, studied like a crime scene. And here's the question that's tearing garages apart right now. Is that theft? Or is it just the rules? Because that file didn't get hacked. NASCAR handed it over to everyone. So here's the real crime we're investigating today. Can 15 years of hard-won talent get downloaded by a rookie in one afternoon? And if it can, is the sport quietly killing the very thing that made it special? Grab a brew, let's get into it. First, you need to understand what we're actually looking at, because when people hear data sharing, they picture lap times on a screen. Nah, mate, it goes way deeper than that. The system's called SMT, Sports Media Technology, same mob that feeds those graphics you see on the broadcast, the little throttle and brake bars during qualifying. That ghost car overlay, that's SMT. But behind the scenes, the teams get the raw version. And the raw version is a full confession. A telemetry trace is basically a lie detector for a race car. It shows you the throttle percentage at every point on the track. It shows brake pressure, how hard he's standing on the pedal box, and exactly when he lifts. It shows where on the circuit he's applying it, corner by corner, foot by foot. You can literally see the shape of how a driver thinks. Now, here's where it gets spicy. Pull up SVG's trace next to a traditional cup blokes, and you're looking at two different species. The old way, the American oval bred way, is left foot braking. Smooth, deliberate, 1 foot on the brake, one on the gas, clean lines on the graph, predictable. Then there's SVG's way, and his trace looks wrong, almost broken. You see these sharp little stabs on the throttle right in the middle of the braking zone. Blips, that's the heel and toe. He's right foot braking using 1 foot to squeeze the brake and flick the throttle at the same time to blip the revs on the downshift, keeping the transaxle happy and the rear settled. He'll even stomp the pedal to build pressure while he's doing it. To an engineer staring at that trace, it looks like a cheat code written in raw numbers. He's carrying speed into a corner where everyone else is coasting. He's back on power earlier. The grip limit? He's dancing right on the edge of it while the rest are playing it safe, so of course they copied it, wouldn't you? But here's the thing that stops me cold, and I'll come back to it. Copying the numbers and copying the driver turn out to be two completely different things. Hold that thought. Quick one. If you're the kind of fan who cares more about throttle traces than drama-filled tweets, who wants to know why a car's fast, not just who crashed, you're in exactly the right place. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next SMT breakdown. We go deep on this stuff every week. Right back to the war, because make no mistake, it is a war, and it's been simmering since 2018. That's the year NASCAR flipped the switch. Every Cup team got access to every other team's SMT data live during practice, qualifying, and the race itself. The reason they gave? The big budget teams were already scraping most of it from the old RaceView system anyway, so NASCAR figured level the field, give it to everyone, an open book. The veterans went spare. Kyle Busch put it best, and honestly, you can feel the anger in it. He said, and I'm quoting, "I've spent 13 years in this sport to figure out how to drive a race car to make it go fast, and now you're going to hand all of that to a young driver on a piece of paper." He called it their signature. That's our signature. Us driving a race car is our way of figuring out how to make a race car go around the track fast. Think about what he's saying there. For decades, driving style was a secret. It was intellectual property earned through blood, wrecks, and 1,000 laps nobody paid you for. Martin Truex Jr. said it straight back when he started. It was all a mystery. You'd watch a bloke and think you knew what he was doing, but you never really knew. Now, it's hard to have secrets, he said. It's hard to not see somebody's driving style, and that's the crux of the whole Barney. When everyone can see everyone's data, the whole field converges. Everyone starts braking at the same marker. Everyone runs the same line. The next-gen car is already so equal that the entire field can qualify within a couple of tenths, and critics reckon the open data is a big reason the racing's gone stale. Nobody's got an edge because nobody's allowed to keep an edge, but here's where it gets properly mad. It's not just humans reading these files anymore. Teams have war rooms, banks of analysts crunching this stuff in real time, and now they're feeding driver traces into software to model the fast blokes' inputs. The next logical step everyone's whispering about? Using AI to reverse engineer SVG's footwork to build a target trace of his exact throttle and brake dance, then coach their own driver to chase that ghost blip by blip. Think about that. An algorithm trying to bottle a world champion's instinct and hand it to someone else. So it should work, right? Feed the machine, copy the master, beat him at his own game, except it hasn't worked, not even close. And why it hasn't worked is the most interesting part of this entire story. Here's the beautiful bit. They got the file. They've had it for years, and SVG still turns up to a road course and absolutely dusts them. How? Because a telemetry trace tells you what he did. It cannot tell you how to do it, and that gap is everything. Kyle Busch, again, brutally honest, he said learning the heel and toe would take until my retirement before I am even 10% as good as he is at it, so he binned the idea entirely. Christopher Bell told NBC he wouldn't even know where to start. These are elite championship-level drivers looking at the exact instructions and saying no chance. Why? 2 words, muscle memory. SVG grew up doing this. Right foot braking and heel toe is his default. It's how he learned to drive before he ever knew there was another way. He only started left foot braking recently in a rally car of all things. For him, it's not a technique, it's a reflex burned into his nervous system over 20 years and hundreds of thousands of laps. Now ask a Cup driver to unlearn a lifetime of left foot braking, to twist his ankle at some awkward angle mid-corner at a $140, with a wall on his right and a bloke's bumper in his mirror. The data can't install that. There's no download for the thousands of reps it takes to make a movement automatic. And you can't practice it. NASCAR's banned open testing. Practice time's tiny, so the only place to try it is live in the race. And no one's game to gamble a result, learning to walk again at race pace. This is the part that saves the sport, honestly. The data flattens the knowledge, but it can't flatten the ability. The file shows you the mountain. It doesn't give you the legs to climb it. SVG even needled his rivals about it, reckoned they overthink the right foot thing. And that's the dagger, isn't it? He's not hiding anything. The trace is right there. He's basically saying, go on, have a look. You still can't do it, but NASCAR's watching all of this, and the pressure to act is building. So what happens next? Here's where I stick my neck out. NASCAR's got a decision coming, and there are really only 2 roads. Road 1, they close the books. The nuclear option, they pull live competitor data, maybe give teams only their own car's telemetry during the race and release everyone else's after the checkered flag for study. That brings back the mystery. Suddenly finding a driver's edge means watching, guessing, outthinking, the way Jimmy Johnson learned Martinsville by chasing Tony Stewart's bumper, not by reading his brake pressure off a laptop. That rewards the sharp ones again. Road 2, they leave it wide open, and honestly, that's the likely bet because there's a fan angle here too. If the teams get all this beautiful data, why don't we? A lot of us would kill to see live throttle traces during a race. That's transparency. That's a better broadcast, and NASCAR knows it. My honest read, they won't fully close the books too far down the road, too many war rooms built around it, but I reckon a compromise is coming, some delay or limit on the live feed to hand a sliver of that edge back to the drivers. So now it's your call, and I want a clean split in the comments. Are you team talent? Do you believe the human, the muscle memory, the uncopyable stuff is what makes this sport sacred? Then smash that like button. That's your vote. Or are you team engineering? You reckon data's just the modern game, adapt or die, and the smartest team deserves to win? Then drop a comment below and tell me why. I read every single one. And look, if this is the kind of breakdown you've been starving for, no fluff, No clickbait, just the real mechanical story under the racing, then you belong in the Trackline community. That's what we're building here. Subscribe, stick around, and next week we're pulling apart another trace nobody's talking about. SVG's file is still sitting on those laptops. The question is whether it's worth the paper it's printed on. I'll see you in the next one.